Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Abandons Konoha and Becomes the Dragon Sage, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Land of Wave, Gato's fortress. Deep in the woods of one of the neighboring islands was a large fortress built into several trees that towered above the earth. This fortress was the home of Gato's operations in the Land of Wave and was the current location of the still recovering Momoki Zabuza. It had been nearly a week since his defeat at the hands of Team B and he was almost fully recovered. Keyword, almost. Talk about paranoid. There's enough guards here to hold off a full-scale invasion, Yugito whispered as the three overlooked the massive base. How do we get in? She asked as she stared at the mass of mercenaries below. How about right through the front door? Naruto quipped. Be serious for once, Yugito shot back. I'm being serious. I say we go down there and kick their collective ass. Isn't that what we're here for? Naruto responded. Yes, but we need a plan, preferably something that doesn't nail us to someone's fan, Kiribi responded simply. How about I blow up the entire fortress? There's this new jutsu I want to try anyway, Naruto said as he rubbed his hands together in glee. What do you have in mind? Yugito asked almost fearfully. She'd never seen that look on him before and she gulped when he formed a familiar seal. Just watch. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, he pushed as much chakra into it as he could and the guards looked up just in time to see a massive army of 1,000 shadow clones pop into existence. How did he? There is no way he should have that much chakra even with the Kyuubi. Yugito thought with wide eyes as the clones charged towards the entrances to the fortress. He can make army with a hand seal. That's not a bad deal, Kiribi thought intrigued. Stupid Kyuubi, always showing off, he heard the Hachibi grunt in the back of his mind. Charge. The clones flooded inside the complex and a few moments later explosions riddled the outer walls. Bunshin Daibakura. The clones shouted as they exploded all over the place. And that is how it is done, Naruto said with a smug look on his face. He took a mock bow and said, thank you. Please hold the applause, he waved to the flames that now engulfed the fortress. And people say my pranks are useless, he said mockingly. When did you learn that? Yugito asked him. How to make exploding clones. A few days ago from the scroll but I couldn't really get it down right, it takes too much chakra, Naruto sighed. Was that your first kill? Kiribi asked, for once not looking to make light of the situation. No, Naruto answered simply. By summoning Miyaka-chan to kill Mizuki was my first kill even if I was knocked out at the time. I will never feel sorry for the deaths of these people, if that's what they can be called after what they've done to this country. He's still in the infant stages of his development even if his power is growing faster than I imagined, Kiribi thought in acceptance. A blur suddenly appeared behind him and he turned swiftly, drawing one of his swords and parrying the strike from a large Zanbato. You really think you can get the drop on me? The Rockin' Killer Bee, he shouted to his assailant. Don't make me laugh, Zabuza shouted back as he pushed down on his sword. Haku, deal with the brats, he ordered and a blue blur appeared from the side. It was the fake Hunter Nin. Down, Yugito shouted as she pushed both herself and Naruto down, avoiding a volley of Senbon needles. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Naruto crossed his fingers and created a pair of clones as they fell through the trees towards the ground below. The two clones grabbed them and hurled the two Jinchuriki up onto a nearby branch. Where the hell did he come from? I couldn't even sense him, Yugito responded as Haku jumped towards them and sent a volley of Senbon at the pair. Incoming. The Kumo Kunoiki warned and the two Jinchuriki jumped out of the way. Sensatsu Susho. The masked nin called out as she sent a massive spray of Senbon at the pair. Damn it, Yugito grunted as the Senbon closed in. Naruto came in from the side and tackled her to the ground to avoid the barrage. What are you doing, you fool? What does it look like? I'm saving your life, Naruto shot back as his legs hit the floor, sliding for several feet before finally stopping with Yugito in his arms. His eyes never left the fake Hunter Nin as she dropped down to ground level also. Hyoten, Hyomu, Haku said as she formed one-handed seal. Ice exploded from the ground below the two and impaled Naruto through the stomach. I have never killed before but Zabuza-sama tells me that I cannot afford to hold back against you two so I will have to fight to kill. Naruto. Yugito said in shock at seeing the blonde boy impaled. Quote. Not bad, but Haku was it. You made one very crucial mistake which everyone has made at one point or another, Naruto rasped out before he exploded in smoke. That was a shadow clone. But that means he sent a clone to save the girl from my last attack while the real him got into position. Haku thought as an orange blur appeared behind her. You underestimated me, the blonde boy finished as he attacked. Naruto swung the Raijin in one swift motion, intent on cleaving the masked nin's head right off, but just before he struck his target a figure parried the blow. This action caught everyone by surprise, even Kirby and Zabuza stopped suddenly to look at the newcomer. Naruto backed off a moment later and looked up at the newcomer's face. It was his own. The Dark One. Hey, it's strange, huh? How your teammates get the easier life, the figure sneered as his head rose to reveal 6 distinguishable marks on his cheeks. Naruto, did you create another clone? Yugito asked nervously upon seeing a copy of her teammate. No, Naruto answered simply as he readied the Raijin. What a bunch of pests, the copy snorted and leveled a glare at Naruto. Call me Yami. He was dressed in an outfit similar to Naruto, but instead of orange, black and white, Yami's was mostly black and with tinges of red here and there. He looks just like me, Naruto whispered as Yami drew an identical copy of the Raijin from his scabbard and dropped it to his side. An irremovable spot on the hero's history. He shouldn't be able to take a physical form, Kirby muttered with narrowed eyes. Konoha treated us like a pariah and Kumo treats us like a godsend, but we both know we're just tools to them all. Surely you understand, Naruto, Yami spoke up. Who are you? Naruto questioned. Can't you tell? I'm you. I'm the darkness inside your heart, Yami explained. What the hell are you talking about? I have no idea who you are. Don't give me that crap. Naruto shouted as he shot forward, twirling the Raijin in his hand for a few seconds and before he swung horizontally at the copy. Foolish, Yami quickly parried the blow in one swift motion, identical to Naruto's own strike, causing them to clash. You have no idea how that sword of yours works, do you? It is one of 2 swords crafted long ago to wield the ultimate power of the ancient rulers of this world. By accepting the Raijin, you've allowed me to form from the darkness and hatred in your heart to bond with the sword in my hands now. The Onijin is the dark counterpart to the Raijin, and I will use it to slay you, Naruto. What do you want from me? Naruto shouted as he pushed forward, striking at the copy only for Yami to parry each blow. What I want. You don't get it. I want what both of us has always wanted. Yami shouted back as they broke apart. I want power, I want to be the best there is, and I want people to acknowledge my existence. That's what I want. That's what we want. Damn, things are really getting bad, Kirby thought as he backed away from Zabuza. He hadn't been fighting all out because he wanted to see how far his students had come, but things were getting complicated now. I'd better end this quickly and help the brat. He sheathed the 7 swords in a matter of seconds, surprising the Kirinukanen. You're giving up? Zabuza asked, almost annoyed. Got no choice but to cut loose, otherwise my team will be nothing more than a stuffed goose, Kirby replied and held his right hand up in their air with a hand seal. Here comes the 8th, he let out a bull-like whine as red chakra exploded from his body and took the shape of a human-sized ox with 3 chakra tails. Oh, this can't be good, Zabuza thought worriedly. I've had enough of this little game, Yami declared as he backed off. With the Onijin still in hand, he formed a familiar hand seal, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Instantly 10 clones popped into existence around him and charged forward. Time to die. He can create shadow clones too, Yugito said in surprise as the clones charged. Rai Bunshin no Jutsu sent a dozen lightning clones to intercept them. The real Yami appeared behind Haku in a burst of speed and struck with all his strength. Thankfully Haku managed to evade the strike, mostly since it nicked her shoulder as she jumped away. A split second later Naruto appeared in front of the copy and lunged with the Raijin. Yami executed a quick replacement with one of his remaining clones and skidded to a halt a few feet away. He's faster than me, Naruto commented in frustration. Yami remained silent for a moment and then they heard it. It started as a low chuckle but eventually became full-blown laughter as Yami's eyes glowed crimson. Yugito suppressed a shiver as she looked on at the twisted copy of her teammate and couldn't help but feel horrified at being in its mere presence. You really are a fool, you have no idea how these swords work at all, do you? Yami asked mockingly before he licked Haku's blood off the Onijin. Allow me to show you one of the Onagen's abilities. The ability to copy bloodlines. Haku's eyes widened at his words as ancient runes started appearing on his body. Kimura no Jutsu, he whispered before forming a one-handed seal. Makyo Hyosho. Suddenly dozens of ice mirrors appeared around the three combatants. This is my bloodline jutsu, Haku said in shock. Does it have a weakness? Yugito questioned as the three stood back to back. None that I know of, no one has ever survived when I use it. At least no one inside has been able to defeat me, Haku replied. What about outside? Yugito continued. The mirrors are vulnerable from the outside, yes, Haku answered with a nod. Naruto quickly formed a hand seal a second later and red chakra exploded from his body. All right then. Jinchuriki no Jutsu. This should even the odds a little. Damn. Yami grunted as Naruto sent out the largest shockwave he could create and shattered the ice long enough for the three to escape. The ice dissolved moment later. I must still need to train in controlling whatever bloodlines I acquire. Give up Yami, you can't win, Naruto said clearly. Yami laughed again. You really think that, don't you? Please don't insult me, Naruto. After all, you should know better than anyone not to underestimate yourself. Now what is he doing? Naruto thought as he jumped back to regroup with Yugito and Haku. Does this happen to you often? Haku asked the two blondes. Don't really know, it's our first real mission, Yugito answered nervously. Quote. I pray that it isn't your last then, Haku said after a moment. Dark Knight of the Fallen Kingdom, I humbly ask that you grant me power. The power of the forgotten, the power of destruction and the power of reincarnation. I call upon you, Crusader. Ascendo, Yami exclaimed as he slammed the Onagen into the ground in front of him. Purple light exploded from the sword, forcing everyone watching to cover their eyes. When it died down, everyone could see again. And they could see it all. What is that? Yugito asked as she gazed up. There, towering over them was a massive black armored giant with raven-like wings and an equally massive black sword, the Onagen, in his hand. Runes and symbols covered the armor and its helmet was shaped like a bird. It stood at roughly 20 feet tall. Its eyes glowed red as it cast its gaze down at the three before it flapped its wings, knocking over several trees in the process, and sent them flying back through the forest. What is going on over there? Kiribi thought as he felt the massive spike of chakra coming from where his students were fighting. It looks like things are heating up. Catch me if you can, Zabuza said before dissolved into water. He must be going after the others, Kiribi quickly deduced and took off into the trees. That thing almost killed us, Haku gritted out as she stood shakily. If it weren't for Zabuza-sama's training I wouldn't have survived that blast. What is that thing? The armored giant spoke with Yami's twisted voice. I am a knight of the ancients and this is my true form. The form of Crusader and the one who will kill you all right here and now. He's too strong. These chakra levels, they're inhuman, Yugito rasped, out of breath. You have no idea how that sword of yours works, do you? It is one of two swords crafted long ago to wield the ultimate power of the ancient rulers of this world. What did he mean by that? Naruto asked as he clutched the Raijin at his side. Suddenly it started to glow red. What the? You want power, don't you, boy? What? Who said that? Naruto thought in surprise. If you want the power to protect those with you, then repeat after me and give me the strength to come forth. Naruto's eyes started to glow gold as the Raijin glowed a terrifying crimson. Wait, that's, no. Yami shouted, but it was already too late. Holy Knight Champion of the Ancients, I ask you to grant me power. The power to protect, the power to defend and the power to safeguard the innocent. I call upon you, Duke. Ascendo. Light exploded from the dragon blade and blinded everyone in the area. When it died down, Yami took a step back. It can't be. Two thuds echoed through the forest as a large armored knight with similar size to Yami secured its footing and stood tall. A long red sword, the Raijin, in its right hand and a massive blue shield in the other. It was plated white with patterns of gold covering its form and a long blue cape flowing in the wind behind it. Whoa, this feels incredible, came a familiar voice from the knight. And Naruto? Yugito asked in shock as the white knight's eyes flashed gold for an instant. Yami, I'm taking you down, Naruto declared as he leveled his sword at the Black Knight. Yugito, Haku-san, move to a safe distance while I deal with this, he said before he charged forward. This isn't going like I had planned, Yami thought in anger as he parried the first blow. Naruto lunged and Yami narrowly evaded the attack. He's getting faster. Raiten, Doragon Raijingu, Naruto shouted as he turned into a blur. His speed just doubled, tripled even, Yami thought in frustration and a little bit of worry. He jumped high, and flapped his wings to keep himself airborne. As long as I remain in the air he can't get me, he thought before he dived towards the White Knight. Here he comes, Naruto thought as Yami closed in. The moment Yami was in range, the Black Knight stabbed his sword towards Naruto only for him to disappear and his cape to flutter away. What? Yami blinked in confusion and quickly looked around but saw no movement. Where did he go? He thought with narrowed eyes. His eyes suddenly widened when he heard an echoing screech like that of chalk streaking across a blackboard and looked up quickly. Above me, there, descending on him was his opponent. Raiten, Feineru Hajimento. Naruto shouted as gathered chakra into the Raijin and struck down, creating a massive explosion and blowing away a good section of the forest around them. Holy Mother of, Yugito shouted as she and Haku clutched the shaking ground. Stay down, she shouted to Haku as the ground cracked around them and shattered into chunks of debris. When the blast died down Haku couldn't help but ask, what was that? I think that was Naruto, Yugito rasped out as she looked over at the masked nin. Well, formally anyway since her mask was now destroyed, are you alright? I've been better, Haku admitted as she leaned back against a chunk of debris. Hey look, she pointed towards the vanishing dust cloud and saw both knights standing apart, facing each other. Hey, Yami chuckled darkly as he rose to his feet once more. Don't think you've won just yet. I'm not finished yet, Naruto. He shouted as he channeled chakra into the Onijin. What's he planning? Naruto thought as Yami took the Onijin in both hands and struck down on the earth. Raiten, Sutereku Raiteningu. Yami exclaimed as a large blast of lightning discharged from the tip of the Onijin. Naruto had already brought up his shield to defend against the attack and was pushed back several feet by its force. This guy, Naruto thought as he reinforced his footing to better hold back his opponent's attack. Kaiten, Senpu Hosenka. Yami called out as his wings extended and a massive blast of flames erupted from them. The flames spun in the shape of a tornado with a phoenix at its head before extending around the sides of Naruto and then coming inwards to strike at White Knight's unprotected back. Damn it, he's backing me into a corner, Naruto realized as he jumped high, very high to avoid the two attacks being thrown at him. Naruto, those jutsu he's using are meant to be used in combination. Don't let them hit you. Yugito shouted from the sidelines. I know, Naruto shouted back as Yami flew up towards him. Too slow. Yami laughed and thrust out his sword. Shut up. Naruto shouted back as he brought his sword down to counter. Raiten, Sutereku Raiteningu. Raiten, Feineru Hajimento. The world around them shook as the two airborne knights clashed with thunderous force, pun intended. They fell a moment later and continued to attack one another even as they closed in on the ground. They hit the ground a few seconds later and dust exploded into the air from the impact. When it cleared, both knights clashed one last time before they pushed themselves away from each other. And Naruto? Yugito asked worriedly. Naruto's breathing was ragged and the armor itself seemed to be alive with heavy breathing. I'm reaching my limit, he informed her in between breaths. Suddenly a large buildup of chakra caught everyone's attention as Zabuza arrived and moved to kill Yugito. Yugito turned but knew she couldn't do anything and closed her eyes. Lariat. Kiribi appeared from the side and delivered a fatal blow to Zabuza's chest much to everyone's surprise, especially Haku's. Zabuza-sama. Haku shouted as she ran to her fallen mentor's side. Haku, Zabuza rasped out. What's going on over here, Yugito? And who are these weirdos? Kiribi questioned as he looked over at the two knights. The white one is Naruto but the other one is the enemy, Yugito replied. I see, then leave it to me, Kiribi said as his skin started to tear itself apart and condense around him. A few seconds later a giant ox with 8 tails, tentacles appeared and roared at the Black Knight. Now look upon me, the Rockin' Hachibi. The ox roared. This is not turning out like I had planned at all, Yami thought and glared hatefully at Kiribi and Naruto. I don't think I care to face a knight and a tailed beast today, maybe some other time. We will meet again, Naruto, Yami declared and flapped his wings. He took to the sky a moment later and started to fly away as fast as he could. He's getting away. Yugito shouted out. Not if I can help it, Naruto growled out and raised his shield. It glowed blue as the crystal in its center started to gather chakra. Raiten, Feinaruyushin. A white blast of pure chakra lanced out of the shield and shot after the fleeing Black Knight. It hit its target and exploded upon contact, but after a few moments of silence it quickly became clear that Yami had escaped. Damn it, he got away, Naruto growled out in frustration. I wouldn't worry too much about it, not when we need to find out about this little bit, Kiribi said as he gestured towards Naruto's form. Naruto's shield flashed blue 3 times before his form was engulfed in light. It died down a few seconds later and regular, human Naruto stood in its place with the normal Raijin in hand. He sighed as he dropped to his knees, breathing harder than ever and feeling beyond exhausted. Kiribi retracted the Hachibi's chakra and dropped down beside his tired student. You alright, Naruto? Are ya gonna puke yo? Kiribi asked him as Naruto's breathing stabilized slightly. Just give me a minute, Naruto waved him away. Well, they've certainly made a mess out of you, Zabuza, spoke an arrogant voice from the edge of the battlefield. What a pity. Oh well, I wasn't going to pay you anyway. Everyone turned to see an army of mercenaries and a short but fat man at the front of the crowd. Gato, Zabuza rasped out in anger as he turned his head towards the businessman. What are you doing here? He growled. This isn't how I had planned it, but plans aren't always foolproof, Gato replied. After this lot destroyed my base, I decided to make this personal, and here we are. You must have guessed I never intended to pay, and now that you've made me lose more money than I can forgive, well, to put it simply, you're all going to die here and now. Zabuza gritted out in pain as he rose to his feet. A war cry escaped his lips as he grabbed the Kubikiri Hoko and charged towards Gato and his mercenaries. Wait, Zabuza-sama, Haku called out as her mentor assaulted the army of mercs single-handed. Haku, Zabuza shouted to her over the screams of death that followed the slaughter he brought. I release you from my service. You can do what you want from now on. He closed in on his target. This is my end, he said finally, and cleaved Gato in half in one swift motion. Zabuza-sama, Haku said as she dropped to her knees. By now the demon of the mist was already impaled by multiple spears and swords, but was still continuing to fight. Eventually he fell under the combined assault of the 100, formerly 200 mercs, and dropped to the ground with his mask sliding off to reveal his face one last time. Damn, that bastard just killed our meal ticket, one of the mercs said. Let's kill them, another merc shouted. You think you can take them while we're here? Everyone turned to see Inari, armed with a crossbow and with at least 300 villagers behind him. Run away, the mercs shouted as they turned and fled towards the harbor where their boats were located. It's over, Yugito sighed in relief. Zabuza-sama, Haku whispered as she knelt down beside her fallen mentor. Snow started to fall as she cried, I was supposed to be his tool, nothing more. Silence fell on the gathered group as they paid their respects to those that suffered this day. Yami. Naruto clenched his fists at his side as he gazed up at the sky. The clouds parted to allow the sun to shine through. Land of Wave, clearing, near Tazuna's house. Kuchio's no jutsu, Naruto exclaimed as he slammed his hand down on the ground. A moment later Hotori appeared in a puff of smoke. Hotori-sama, it's good to see you again. I wish I could say the same, boy, the dragon said. You know what I'm going to ask, don't you? Naruto phrased it like a question, but they both knew it wasn't. So you've finally encountered the Black Knight, Hotori spoke simply. It is an entity which wields the darkest emotions of the White Knight. You. Me. Why me? Naruto asked him. That's simple. You wield the Raijin, the dragon boss answered with a snort. When you accepted the Raijin, when you accepted Duke, you were able to draw on his power, on your power, and wield it against your darkness. The Black Knight is known as Crusader. He is the embodiment of death and destruction given physical form. The Onijin is the Ryujin's dark counterpart and its equal in every shape and form. Then how do I beat him? Naruto asked in frustration. Beat him? Foolish boy, he is you, so you should know better than anyone. You cannot defeat yourself in such a way. You will have to fight him, but you cannot kill him, because if you do he will just reform later, Hotori explained. So what do I do then? Naruto shot back. Quote. You will have to find the answer to that yourself, Hotori responded. Great, as if things weren't bad enough, what the hell is up with these swords anyway? Naruto restrained himself from outright shouting. I'd better start at the beginning. Tell me boy, do you know the story of the Rikudo Sennin? Hotori questioned. Yeah, he was supposed to be this big guy who discovered chakra. Naruto blinked at the odd question. The Rikudo Sennin was a priest who went from town to town and taught ninjutsu to everyone who came to him. He became known as a god by defeating the most powerful demon in history, a demon so powerful it made even the Kyuubi look like an ant in comparison. It was known simply as the Kyuubi, Hotori explained. There's a biju with more tails than the Kyuubi? Naruto asked in shock. It was creature of unrivaled strength, and unlike the biju of today, it was able to contain its mind enough to think about what it was doing. It was an abomination that wanted to destroy everything and kill everyone it came across. Even my kind was threatened by it, my own father was killed by it, Hotori continued. What's this got to do with the knights? Naruto asked. The Kyuubi commanded an army of lesser demons and sent them to hunt those that were hiding during its reign. The Rikudo Sennin's first encounter with the Kyuubi ended with him almost dying from the combined efforts of the Kyuubi and the lesser demons. He knew he couldn't defeat them all at once, so he forged several weapons out of extremely old magic, Hotori explained. The Ryujin and the Onijin, Naruto realized. Not quite. Hotori smiled at his quizzical look. He crafted 5 swords and infused them with parts of his chakra. Those 5 swords merged and allowed him to become the final knight of the ancients. I only saw it once, but he defeated the Kyuubi with it along with the Rinnegan, his bloodline. He was a god knight, and I can still remember the words he said to us after the battle was over. What did he say? Naruto asked. I have brought peace and order, Hotori quoted. That's what he said. He died a few years later. And you're saying the Kyuubi is one of the lesser demons that survived the war? Naruto asked. No. The Rikudo Sennin wiped out most of them and forced the rest to flee, including the Ribi. Only the most battle-hardened of demons remained behind after the fall of the Kyuubi, and the Kyuubi came into existence after the Kyuubi's defeat along with the rest of the biju of today. The Kyuubi and the rest of the biju are actually parts of the Kyuubi's chakra core. The Rikudo Sennin split the Kyuubi into the 9 biju of today just before he died, and on his deathbed he constructed the moon itself to act as a prison for the physical remains of the Kyuubi, Hotori explained. He created the moon. That's the scale of what you're talking about is, Naruto began. The Rikudo Sennin was a monument to humanity's potential and deserves nothing but the utmost respect. After the battle was over, he placed the Ryujin and the Onijin in our possession while he entrusted the other 3 swords to others. He also foretold a prophecy which said that his successor, a child of prophecy, would come to us in order to claim the swords. Many have tried, but all have failed to control the power of the knights. In fact, nearly every one of them has been killed by their own power, Hotori continued. And you think I'm this child of prophecy? Naruto asked incredulously. I don't know, Hotori finished. Naruto looked at the crimson sword in his hand and clenched its handle. I'm not sure what you want me to do. Do what you must, Hotori said simply. Where did the Kyuubi come from? You said it just appeared one day, so where was it before that? Naruto asked, confused. The great dragon remained silent for a moment before he answered. It came from the realm of oblivion where nothing exists. What's that supposed to mean? Naruto asked, even more confused. Tell me boy, what do you know about Pandora's box? Hotori asked with narrowed eyes. I've never heard of it, Naruto replied. It was created by a goddess long ago to house all the evil in the world, the dragon explained. It has only been opened once in all of existence, and that was the time when the Kyuubi and its minions were released. Wait, you're saying the Kyuubi came from a box? Naruto asked in disbelief. Is it so hard to believe? You have a demon sealed within your stomach, Hotori shot back. Pandora's box is a prison like any other, however this prison is connected directly to the realm of oblivion where only emptiness exists. The box holds incredible destructive power and has been sought after by many men. It's fitting that only a woman is capable of touching the box and opening it. So even if someone found it, they wouldn't be able to open it unless they were a girl. Why? Naruto questioned. The box is hidden away in a place eons old that even I do not know. Only the biju know of its location, and none of them are capable of touching the box. Only a human female is capable of touching the box without being sealed within it, Hotori explained. Why are you telling me all of this? Naruto asked him. Because your darker counterpart has already learned this information and will most likely use it to his advantage. Use this information wisely boy, Hattori concluded before he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Easy for you to say, Naruto thought with a sigh. What are you really up to, Yami? Land of Wave, mainland bridge. 2 weeks passed as the bridge was completed and the Kumo team was standing in front of Zabuza's grave. Everyone remained quiet as Haku placed the hitai on the post and took a step back. Even Kiribi hadn't said a word as the service had begun by Tazuna and ended with the team turning to leave. Haku, come on, we're leaving, Naruto said her as he saw that she wasn't moving. Goodbye, Zabuza-sama. Haku bowed her head in respect for her fallen mentor before turning away and following the team. On her back was the large Kubikiri Hoko which she kept as a memento of the man who saved her life years ago. They soon arrived at the bridge to see most of the villages there waiting for them. Thanks to you, our bridge has been completed, but it's going to be pretty dull around here when you're gone, Tazuna spoke with a chuckle. We've enjoyed your hospitality, thank you, Yugito said and bowed in respect. Tazuna, you old drunk, we'll come back and play with you again. Just make sure the next time you call us there are bad guys involved, Naruto quipped. I'll do that, Tazuna chuckled with a nod. Come on team, let's go home while we're still in the zone, Kiribi rapped as he started down the bridge towards the mainland with Haku trailing behind him. Inari. Naruto trailed off as he saw the younger boy's face. I promised myself I wouldn't cry, Inari said as he tried to remain calm. It's okay to cry when you're happy, Naruto said with a smile before he followed his team. That boy touched Inari's heart and Inari touched the hearts of the villagers because of him. Naruto built the bridge that eventually carried us all hope and courage just like a knight of the western lands. And speaking of bridges. We still need to name this one and there's only one name I think will fit, Tazuna declared with a smile. What are you going to call it? Tsunami asked her father. How about, the Great Naruto Bridge? Tazuna suggested. Hey, it's a nice name, Dad, Tsunami chuckled. Then I name this bridge the Great Naruto Bridge, Tazuna declared and the crowd cheered for the peace they now had. Land of Fire, Fire Temple. It was early morning when the monks began the daily activities but many of them could sense the approaching storm that was slowly creeping its way towards them. In the forest just outside of the temple a familiar 12-year-old boy walked up beside the main gate of the temple. From the trees he could see the monks on guard at the entrance and couldn't help but smirk at them. He had been traveling for days, ever since his defeat in the Land of Wave at the hands of his counterpart Uzumaki Naruto and that blasted ox. Yami now knew he was no match for his other half with his current level of strength, especially since unlike Naruto he didn't have access to the near-limitless chakra reserves of the Kyuubi no Yoko. That's when he had started to think of a new course of action. He could sense where Naruto was through the residual presence of the Kyuubi's chakra. That was how he had tracked the Kumo genin to Wave and that was the reason he now stood before the Fire Temple gates. He had felt another signature identical to the Kyuubi's in this temple, albeit on a much smaller scale but it was still there and he had come to claim it. All he needed to do was locate the carrier of the Yuki he was sensing. Only 2 guards. I'm almost insulted, Yami thought as before he threw a rock over the wall only for it to explode with a pop. Electrical barrier seal, it looks like I'm going to have to knock, he smiled as he unsheathed his sword and dropped down from the trees. What the? It's a kid, said one of the guards in surprise. Dark Knight of the Fallen Kingdom, I humbly ask that you grant me power. The power of the forgotten, the power of destruction and the power of reincarnation. I call upon you, Crusader, Ascendo, Yami shouted as he planted his sword into the ground and purple light exploded from him. What the? A guard spoke before he was struck down by the Black Knight's sword. Hey what are you? The other guard shouted before Yami flapped his wings and blew the man away. The knight then raised his sword and struck the main gate, Raiten, Sutereikureiteningu. The gate was destroyed a moment later and the barrier dropped allowing the knight to continue inside the complex. By now dozens of monks were filing into the courtyard as the knight walked through the flames that dotted the area of the gates. The leader of the monks, Chiraku, was standing at the entrance to the main building, looking up at the approaching knight. Yami stopped and extended his wings outwards as he looked over the assembled monks. Who are you, intruder, and why have you come here? Chiraku inquired simply. My name is Yami, the Black Knight declared. I have come for the corrupt power you have in your possession. There is nothing corrupt here, Chiraku responded, not knowing what the entity before him was talking about. You are lying, Yami said simply. You have in your possession something known as a Jinchuriki, or perhaps you only have a piece of one, it doesn't matter, hand it over to me and I shall leave here peacefully. Jinchuriki, the words was muttered. A demon, the Yami clarified as he turned his head towards where he felt the tainted chakra was located. You. His eyes flashed red as he gazed down at a boy the same age as him. That kid, said a monk. I always knew he was trouble, another spoke. I'm afraid I cannot allow you to take him, Chiriku declared, effectively silencing the monks. So be it. Flames exploded from the knight's wings and struck several locations in the courtyard. Kaiten, Senpu Hosenka. Several monks couldn't escape in time and died as the flames incinerated their bodies within moments. Futon, Jua Repu Sho. The boy he was after exclaimed as he sent a large claw of chakra at him. This might be fun after all, Yami grinned inside the night and took to the air. What do you want from me? The boy shouted. Everything. Raiten, Sutere Kurateningu. Yami yelled back as he sent a large blast of lightning down at the temple. Reigo, Senjusatsu, Chiriku said as a large spiritual golden cannon with 1,000 arms appeared and shielded the temple from the attack. Interesting, interesting. Yami laughed as the cannon suddenly shifted into a red demonic monstrosity right before his eyes. Stay down, Sora, Chiriku said to the boy as he sent the 100 spiritual fists at the descending knight. Come here. Raiten, Sutere Kurateningu. Yami gave out an echoing battle cry as he struck down on the cannon and forced Chiriku to drop to his knees. And then suddenly, the pressure was gone. What? Chiriku looked up but saw no sign of the knight. A yelp of pain suddenly caught his attention. Sora. Yami stood behind Sora with the onogen resting on the boy's right shoulder and blood flowing out of the wound. Don't move, old man, or he dies, Yami said coldly as red chakra leaked out of Sora's body and flowed into the onogen. You're nothing but a child, Chiriku realized. A child with power, Yami sneered as the red chakra stopped flowing. We're done here. I have what I wanted. He kicked Sora away and quickly threw a set of smoke bombs at the floor. Don't let him escape, Chiriku shouted to the monks as he sent several spiritual fists at the fleeing boy. Kuchio's no jutsu, Yami exclaimed as a hawk appeared alongside him in a puff of smoke. Get us out of here, Takemaru. He ordered and jumped on the now airborne hawk as it took the sky. Quote. He got away, one of the monks said through gritted teeth. Sora, Chiriku asked the young boy at his side. My hand. Sora trailed off at seeing his now human hand. Quote. He took it away, Chiriku mused as he saw the hawk disappear into the distance. Takemaru, thank you for the help, Yami said to the hawk he was riding on. Did you get what you wanted, master? Asked the hawk. Quote. Yes, I did, Yami confirmed with a smile as red chakra whisked across his arms. Where to now? Takemaru asked. I need be ready for my next encounter with my other. I need to start collecting bloodlines, Yami said simply. I heard Konoha is holding something called a Chunin exam this year while we were in Tanzaku town a few days ago, a perfect time to start. So we have a destination? Takemaru inquired. Yes, head south, towards Konoha, Yami smirked as they flew off. Aren't you on the run from them? Asked the hawk. Yes. But what better place to hide from those after you than right under their noses? Yami shot back. Land of Lightning, Kumogakur no Sato, Reikage Tower. Hold on a second. Let me get this straight. Not only did you defeat Momoki Zabuza and acquired a bloodline user for Kumo, but you also gained the loyalty of another nation and fought some dark version of Naruto. He asked incredulously. Well, when you put it like that. Naruto muttered sheepishly. Yo, the dark guy we fought is Naruto's darkness. That never happened to me. Fools, ya fools, Kiribi answered. Quote. Right, he said as he felt a headache coming on. Do we have any idea where this thing went? He questioned. He disappeared as soon as Kiribi-sensei arrived, Yugito replied, and the Reikage nodded in understanding. Quote. If you encounter this Yami again, then I want you to either capture him or kill him, understood? He asked in clarification. Understood, Reikage-sama. The team knew not question his orders on this. He'll be coming after me, sir, Naruto spoke up. He wants to kill me, and I will have to face him sooner or later. And by that time you will ready, my brother will see to that, he responded in a serious tone. Now that the issue with Wave is out of the way. Haku was it? The girl in question nodded in reply. What do you wish to do? You can join Kumo if you wish and I will even place you on the same team as these two. I'd like that, Reikage-sama, Haku said with a bow. You said to Reikage-sama, Yugito picked up. Yes, I'm reorganizing Team B, he clarified. Kiribi, I need you here in Kumo for the next few months until the Chunin exams are over. Chunin exams. Naruto blinked. It's the exam which genin take to become Chunin. Aren't they being held in Konoha this time? Yugito asked. Yes they are, however you won't be entering the exams, he said firmly. What? Why not? Yugito questioned. What do you think Konoha would do if Naruto were to step foot in the village? He shot back and everyone fell quiet. It didn't take a genius to figure out what Konoha would try to pull. ... They would want to capture or kill him. So they can't take the exams this time around. That still doesn't explain why I'm on the rebound, Kiribi said from the side. Quote ... Konoha no Naruto is here in Kumo, he declared to the room. Wars have been started over less and I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to pull something. Quote ... Fine. I'll still here, Kiribi sighed. Team B will be reorganized into Naruto, Yugito-chan and Haku. Haku, you will have the rank of genin until I say otherwise, he spoke clearly. Yes Reikage-sama, Haku nodded in understanding. Good. Now Team B, I have a mission for you. The three genin immediately straightened as his aide handed him a file. Her name is Fuji Kazuki, she's an actress who is rather famous in the movie industry. Currently she is working on a new Princess Gale movie and they are filming it in the Land of Snow. 10 years ago the Land of Snow was in a state of civil war with one side being aided by Yukigakure no Sato. The result was the daimyo murdered and Kyuki Haim forced into hiding. These days Yukigakure no Sato has become erratic and prone to attack anyone who enters the Land of Snow. We're supposed to guard Yuki-san? Yugito inquired. Correct. Yuki-san has a large amount of power despite the fact that she doesn't use it. To the public she is a symbol of hope in this chaotic world we live in, though from what I'm told she doesn't seem to care, he replied gruffly. Your mission is to simply guard her. Normally this is a B rank mission, however there is a possibility that you may encounter Jonin, so this will be classed as an A rank mission, understood? Wouldn't this be better for Chunin and Jonin, Reikage-sama? Yugito asked, confused. Normally yes, however missions are erratic, right? Not because of the exams, and quite frankly I want you three as far away from Konoha and Kumo as long as the exams are going on. Understood. He concluded. Yes Reikage-sama, the three genin answered as one. Good. You've proven yourselves capable in the Land of Wave, so I expect you to keep it up. Dismissed, the Reikage ordered and the three disappeared out of the door. Isn't this too soon? They may go kaboom, asked his younger brother. I wouldn't have assigned them this mission if I didn't have faith in them, he replied as he leaned back in his chair. Those three are exceptionally powerful from what I read in your report. But they need experience before it happens. What's this? That's got you in such a fit? Kiribi inquired. War. The Reikage answered gruffly. According to the file, Yuki-san should be in the Land of Grass right now and will be continuing on to the Land of Rivers in a few days. We should catch up with them at the Land of Rivers, at least then I'll be able to sense them without the inference from other chakra signatures, Yugito spoke up. Then let's go. The sooner we get there the sooner we find out, client. Haku. Naruto said and then turned to their new teammate. We do not wish to run into any hostile forces, Haku responded after a moment. We should try to mask our presence as much as possible until we reach our client. I agree. Tell us what to do, Yugito said to the other girl. They set off a few minutes later with Haku leading the way, mostly because of her training to hide her presence at all cost and to keep the team relatively undetected until they passed through the Land of Fire and into the Land of Rivers. Land of Rivers, film crew campsite. Pandemonium. That's the only word to describe the situation at the campsite as the camera crews ran frantically throughout the area, searching for something or someone. This was the scene that Team B arrived to as they landed on the branches of a nearby tree. Quote ... Hello. Naruto spoke up, catching the attention of the man in charge. We're ninja from Kumo here to guard an actress known as Fuji Kazuki, he said. The man immediately sighed in relief. I've been expecting you. My name is Sandayu and I am Yuki's manager, spoke a man off to the side. Where is Yuki-san? Asked Yugito. She's the film director off to the side sighed at the question. What was that? Naruto blinked. She's run away again, the director stated clearly. Quote dot dot dot. Run away again. How often does this happen? Naruto asked after a moment. Well, every few hours since we started heading for the land of snow, Sandayu admitted. Quote dot dot dot. Right. Yugito, can you find her? Naruto asked, turning to his fellow Jinchuriki. The Nibi Jinchuriki nodded and turned towards the east. There is only one chakra signature in the area and it's that way. Haku, you take the lead, Naruto said as he turned to his other teammate. Stay close, Haku said to the two blondes before she took off into the trees. Her teammates followed a moment later. She had to get away. She couldn't go back. Not to there, not to the place that took her father away from her. She couldn't go back. She'd die if she did. She didn't have any fear of death, far from it actually, she wanted to die. She just didn't want to give those bastards the satisfaction of finally putting her out of her misery. I must get away, was the only thought running through Fujikazuki's head as she ran through the forest towards the land of fire border. Thump. She stopped dead in her tracks and turned swiftly to check the source of the sound. Immediately she spotted three figures drop down from the trees, one boy and two girls ranging from the ages of 12 to 14. Fujikazuki, asked the blonde girl of the group. What's it to you? Yuki shot back as she clutched the purple necklace around her neck. We're your guards and right now you're needed back at the camp. Come on, the boy said seemingly bored. I'm not going back there, Yuki said with a look of disgust. Quote dot dot dot. Haku, Naruto said after a moment, and a moment later the older girl appeared behind Yuki. One chop to the neck later and Yuki collapsed in her arms. Why do I get the feeling this will be a long mission? Don't jinx it, Yugito shot back. We should return to camp before dusk, Haku said as she hefted the actress onto her shoulder and they took off into the trees a moment later. Hiding on one of the tree branches nearby was a single masked man dressed in a long grey cloak and bearing the Hitai of Yukigakure no Sato. He narrowed his eyes as he watched the three genin leave with their objective and knew he had to report this to his superiors. Silently he disappeared into the trees towards the landing site. Land of snow, Yuki airship, ocean. The room was silent as the film played on the wall screen in the darkened room of the airship and the occupants couldn't help but feel amused at what they saw. The daimyo of the land of snow, a man named Kazuhana Doto, paused the film and spoke with great amusement in his voice. We've finally found her, Doto's voice echoed through the room. And she even has the hex crystal. How interesting. Her escort is a team from Kumo, started Roga Nader. She is being guarded by Team B, students of Yotsuki Kiribi. They're just genin, they're not a threat, continued Fuyukuma Mizo. I wouldn't be so sure. You know as well as I do the things Kiribi-san has done and how strong he is. I doubt he would teach just anyone, countered Kakuyoku Fubuki. She's right. His other students and especially that bitch, Sumui aren't normal at all. We should be careful, finished Nader. The recording them resumed for a moment before it was paused again, this time with the picture of all three genin together. Who are these genin exactly? He inquired curiously. The girl on the left is Ni Yugito, the granddaughter of the Sandaime Reikage and is unquestionably skilled in the ninja arts. According to our spies, the other girl is Momoki Haku, the former apprentice of Momoki Zabuza, a member of the 7 Shinobi Swordsmen of the Mist. Finally is the boy. His entire file is classified above top secret and we couldn't get much information on him, Fubuki explained. Yeah, according to our spies he was originally from Konoha and failed the graduation exam 3 times, but he managed to kill a Chunin before escaping the village with the forbidden scroll of sealing. He's now a member of Kumo and is said to be the main reason that the land of Wave is now free from the business tycoon. Gato, finished Mizo. What about Konoha? What do they say about him? Nader inquired. They don't say anything about him. Jiraiya-sama's spy network neutralizes almost all of our spies that go to Konoha, but the ones that have survived reported that this kid has been all but ignored by the populace. Officially he doesn't exist, Fubuki answered. Now that is interesting. Nader mused with a smirk as he walked in front of the image. Oh, Doto said with a raised eyebrow. This boy must be something dangerous if Konoha is trying so hard to erase his name from their village. Nader's smirk started to widen. His hand rested on the image of the blonde boy. I wonder why. We will find out soon enough. Just bring me the hex crystal, Doto gave the order. Land of snow, film ship, ocean. Yuki groaned as she awakened from her slumber just long enough to roll over away from the sunlight that came in through the window. The room felt like it was swaying and her head was pounding as she tried to sit up. Yuki-sama, are you awake? Asked a voice which she recognized immediately. Sandayu, could you get me a glass of water? My head won't stop spinning, she said as she rubbed her eyes to clear them of sleep. This is going to sound crazy but it feels like the room is swaying, she added. Well, actually it's not all that crazy, Sandayu said nervously. What? She blinked only for him to point out of the window at the sea outside. Oh no, she muttered before she jumped out of bed and dashed to the door. She swung it open and ran down the corridor until she reached the door at the end. She swung it open and stepped out only to step onto the main deck of the large ship. You have got to be kidding me. Such was the life of a famous actress. I see she's as cheerful as ever, Yugito said sarcastically as she looked over at the actress getting fixed up for the recording session. It's not so bad, Naruto said with a sigh. We could have a bloodthirsty maniac with a giant sword after us again, no offense Haku. None taken, Haku waved it away as she tapped the Kubikiri Hoko. Let's hope we don't run into one this time around, Yugito shrugged. Land of snow, iceberg, ocean. An iceberg. I know this is the land of snow and all but what's with a single iceberg in the middle of nowhere right in our path? Naruto asked confused. It is strange, Haku commented. That's because it was formed from chakra, Yugito whispered to them. The iceberg was made by someone who can control ice, she added. Ice. Haku. Naruto asked as he turned to the girl. She shook her head in response, don't look at me. Well if it wasn't you then who was it? I doubt there are any other Hyoten bloodline wielders out there, Naruto countered. Yuki-nins are famous for their usage of Hyoten jutsu, Yugito cut in. Anyone with wind and water affinities are capable of using Hyoten jutsu but only those with it engraved into their bloodline can do it without training. So that means, Naruto trailed off. Someone's out there, Haku nodded in conclusion. I can sense them, there's 3 of them on the iceberg, what do we do? Yugito asked. Do we run or? She trailed off. A fight? Are you serious? Naruto asked as a grin started to spread across his face. A sudden explosion on the iceberg caught their attention, I don't think that was part of the movie. Let's go, Yugito said as the 3 jumped in front of the actors and Yuki. Come out, we know you're there. Naruto shouted and, though the camera crew seemed confused, a man dressed in strange armor appeared on top of the nearby cliff. Welcome friends, to the land of snow, the man said with a sneer. The other 2 are to the left and right, Yugito spoke up as another 2 Yuki-nins appeared from the snow in the direction she said. Greetings Princess Kayuki, I do hope you're still carrying the hex crystal, the pink-haired Kunoiki said with a smirk. Princess Kayuki, Yugito thought as she cast a look back at Yuki. It looks like you're as good as they say Yugito-san, the man on the right said. I knew this was going to be a long mission, Naruto thought as he clenched his fists at his side. And it started off as such a nice escort mission. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.